Hey everyone, welcome to Property Dojo. I'm Kelly, and today I want to talk to you about a story that I affectionately like to call Crazy Drunk Lady. Today we are talking about how to set proper boundaries with our tenants. This is an important thing that I wish that I'd known far before I learned it, and something that I hope that with this video you'll be able to avoid some of those pitfalls and some of those heartburn moments that come with dealing with difficult residents. Let's jump into it. So this story comes when I was a brand new apartment manager of a 34-unit apartment complex. I had never done property management before, and this complex had been recently purchased by the property management company that I was working for. Didn't have a lot of history on the tenants, didn't have a lot of lease information, but came to be pretty apparent that we were going to be doing some pretty heavy renovations and turnover in the property. This encounter happened after I had just served my very first 30-day notice of non-renewal. It was warranted. This particular tenant had been toxic from the very first when we purchased the building. She was never sober. I think that's pretty fair. I don't think I ever saw her sober. Belligerent, mean to other tenants, and had threatened other people in the property. And so today I want to take a moment and talk about a couple of the stories that the other tenants had told me about and the complaints that they had brought up. Don't have time to cover them all, but we're going to hit my top two. The first one I like to call play ball. This tenant that we are speaking of that had received the non-renewal, for all intents and purposes, we're going to call her Jane. Her next door neighbor, we're going to call Peter. Peter was someone who enjoyed watching movies. He enjoyed listening to them, watching them, and as you know, sometimes the noise level can be a bit variable in different movie scenes. And one day, apparently, the noise got too loud for Jane. Next thing you know, Jane was beating on Peter's door. He got up and went to the door and answered it to find Jane standing there with a baseball bat in her hands. Not only did she tell him to turn down the music, but she told him that if he didn't turn it down, that she was going to use this baseball bat on his head. Long story short, Peter went and got a set of headphones so that he never had to deal with her again. The second story I want to tell you about is what I like to call no guests allowed. This situation happened one night when a tenant downstairs from Jane was having a couple of friends over. They were minding their own business, keeping to themselves, not making a lot of noise, but a couple of them had stepped out the front door, which is also where the stairwell to Jane's apartment was. Jane apparently went to go up the stairs and felt like these tenants' guests were blocking her pathway. She yelled at them, threatened them, cursed at them, and then proceeded to run upstairs to her kitchen, grab a kitchen knife, and allegedly chase one of these nice young women down the street. Not an ideal altercation on one of your properties, as you can imagine. So the decision was made not to renew Jane's lease agreement. We served her the proper notice, and I was sitting in my apartment processing rent checks when I heard someone yelling outside. No, not yelling. Ranting? It was a long stream of every single cuss word you could imagine, and some that were seemingly made up, all together in one big tirade of rage. You could hear her when she was down the street, and I heard her increasingly getting louder as she passed in front of the property, rounded the corner to the stairwell, and then started angry marching her way up the stairs. to my apartment. I was a brand new apartment manager. My stomach dropped. I didn't know what I was supposed to do. I was terrified. She got to my front door and I heard her angrily ringing the doorbell over and over and over again. Still yelling, still cussing, still oozing with anger and rage. You could feel it palpable in the air. Thankfully, my apartment had a door and a security door. Unfortunately, the security door didn't properly lock. So I instinctively, after opening the front door, put my hand on the lever of the security door so that it couldn't easily be opened. Oh my gosh, the smell that came off of her. It was the most pungent I have ever smelled. It was that bottom shelf liquor and stale cigarette ashtray smell that is just indescribable. And she was yelling at me and screaming at me through the screen door. I tried to mitigate the situation. I tried to listen. I tried to respond appropriately. I tried to refer to the information on the letter she had received and tried to default it back to contacting our corporate office so that she wouldn't be yelling at me anymore. And really, when it all came down to it, as she's screaming and yelling and threatening me, I felt instinctually like I had to take it. Like it was my job to listen to her rant and rave and complain, and that somehow I'd be in trouble if I stopped listening to her. And then she grabbed the door. She grabbed the door and she started trying to pull it open, and it flipped a switch in my head. I realized that my phone was in my hand, and I told her immediately that she needed to leave immediately or I was calling the police. To which she responded, "If you call the police, I'm calling the police." And it just continued in this ridiculous outrage until I started dialing on the phone. And as I started dialing, she started backing away, yelling and still raging that she was calling the police herself. Thankfully, she then left. The police came out and took statements, and 30 days later, she moved out of the property peacefully. The moral of the story is this: you don't ever have to be someone's emotional punching bag in this business. This will always be a business where emotions are high and emotional situations happen. But if things are escalating to a point to where you are being harassed, belittled, or abused, verbally or otherwise, by one of your tenants, it's time to walk away. You should have it in your policies and procedures how you're handling those situations and how your employees are able to handle them. You never should stand there and take that abuse. Put it in your policies that you will respectfully ask them to calm down. If they do not calm down, that you will tell them that if they cannot calm down, the conversation's over until they can come back peacefully. All else fails, close the door, lock it, call the police if you need to. But do not feel like you have to just take the abuse. Personal safety is the most important thing. Thank you for watching our video today. If you enjoyed the content that we brought today and the stories that we bring, please remember to like, comment, subscribe, tell all your friends, share this content with others. If you have stories or moments with tenants that you want to share with us, maybe we can feature your story on one of these future episodes of Property Dojo. We would love to hear from you. Drop your stories and your experiences into the comments below. Remember, property management stories are best shared amongst friends, and we would love to be the friends that you share them with. So thank you so much, and we look forward to seeing you next time. Bye-bye.